In this episode, we travel into the vast wilderness of British Columbia to encounter grizzly bears in their natural habitat.
She is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful creature. I have chills. This is incredible.
And learn how scientists are working to better understand and protect these magnificent creatures.
We're developing face recognition technology for bears.
Face recognition technology for bears.
So it's
Amazing.
Here on Xploration Awesome Planet. Welcome to Awesome Planet. I'm Philippe Cousteau. Now, the province of British Columbia sits on Canada's stunning west coast and provides some of the most spectacular wilderness and coastlines in the entire world. This is British Columbia in Western Canada. Arguably one of the most beautiful places on Earth. Spectacular mountains cover nearly the entire landscape, while its rugged Pacific shore includes nearly 17,000 miles of stunning coastline. Vancouver, the largest city in the province, sits along this Pacific coast. As a major commercial and cultural center, the city and its surrounding areas are home to nearly half of British Columbia's 4.6 million residents. About 70 miles southwest of Vancouver, on what's known as Vancouver Island, is Victoria, the provincial capital. After a brief stay in Victoria, it's time to leave the cities behind and embark on my adventure into the Canadian wilderness. To do this, I've chartered a flight on board a local float plane. It's taking me over 150 miles northwest of Victoria to the Night Inlet Lodge in Glendale Cove. I'm told this area is a prime place for grizzly bear encounters. Looking out at the seemingly endless stretches of forest and rivers, I'm struck by just how wild this land is. And when we finally reach our destination, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. This platform is floating.
That's
I've
right.
never been on a floating lodge before.
Yeah, it's amazing. We are not connected to land. To get to land, we still need to take a boat.
And nothing stays here. Everything is shipped in and shipped out.
Shipped in and shipped out. Whatever we bring in, we have to take out of here, by boat or by plane.
Dixon Coatsworth is the assistant manager and lead guide here at the Night Inlet Lodge. The entire complex is a model of ecotourism, meaning that the business is built around working to protect the natural environment and then share it with others in a responsible way.
You can look at something as specific as the trophy bear hunt here in British Columbia. The Night Inlet Lodge has been fighting the government, asking them to stop shooting bears just for a trophy. And the government's argument has always been, well, with the sale of every hunting license, we get a portion of that money that can go toward bear viewing conservation. But only $25 of trophy tag goes toward bear conservation in British Columbia.
Wait. Only $25 of the license actually went to conservation.
Exactly.
That's kind of a joke.
Exactly. And here at Night Inlet Lodge, to end that argument, the owners created what we call a bear viewing license, where for $25, you can buy a license, and we will take that money and give it to the government in lieu of any money they're gonna raise from the hunt.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that's probably raised a lot more money than licenses have.
It can raise a lot more money than any trophy hunt license can. Just us being here, of course, leaves a footprint. We don't want to impact the animals around us. This is their home. This is where they roam. This is where they feed. This is where they have their babies. We really just want to be able to sit back and be those observers.
When we come back, I head out in search of grizzlies
Looks like some activity over there.
and come face to face with these incredible creatures.
Right over my shoulder is a young female grizzly feeding along the shoreline. Welcome back to Awesome Planet. I'm Philippe Cousteau. We've made our way to the Night Inlet Lodge in British Columbia, Canada, with one goal in mind: to see bears feeding in their natural habitat. Let me tell you, it's going to be amazing.
Since arriving yesterday afternoon, I've been anxiously awaiting my chance to see the bears. And this morning, lodge manager Brian Collin is taking me out to find them. British Columbia is home to approximately 15,000 grizzly bears, about 1/4 of the entire North American population. The area we're in, Glendale Cove, is home to one of the largest concentrations of grizzlies in the province.
Looks like some activity over there, so yeah, perfect.
So it doesn't take long to find what we're looking for.
Right over my shoulder is a young female grizzly feeding along the shoreline, digging up rocks, huge boulders, I should say. She's turning over the rocks, looking for little fish and mussels and things like that to supplement her diet. I have chills. This is incredible.
We're less than 30 feet away. But the only reason we can get this close is because Brian is an extremely experienced guide.
Hey, girl.
While we watch, he talks to the bear in a calm, soothing voice to assure her we aren't a threat,
Hey, girl.
and keeps a careful eye out for any sign that could indicate she's starting to become uncomfortable.
They're constantly communicating through body language, posturing, those type of things. If there's any changes in their behavior, we can adjust our behavior accordingly.
It's really just an incredible sight to behold, to see this bear.
As the female wanders off, 2 more bears immediately come into view.
So that's a male in there.
Oh yeah, he is enormous.
Yeah, he's a big.
Wow. The size of that head, oh my goodness.
Oh, and then there's another one even further back.
3 grizzly bears, all within maybe 100 yards of each other. I never thought I'd see 3 grizzly bears in an area smaller than a football field.
The bears are drawn to Glendale Cove because of the area's food resources. When the tide is low, they forage for mussels, barnacles, and small fish in the rocks. When the tide is high, they feed on plant life like sedge grass.
It's incredible the resources that they'll exploit. They're just constantly looking for food.
After the bears move a safe distance away, Brian and I head ashore to get a closer look at what they were doing.
So this is the whole area where they've been rooting around?
Yes, they're feeding off the bulbs, and there'll be grubs and insects in here they're feeding off of. But if you look around, it's just like a rototiller.
Yeah.
I mean, these bears have those massive shoulder muscles that enables them to do this.
By digging for food, the bears also aerate the soil, which makes it easier for new plants to grow.
So it's feeding them, but it's also helping to loosen the soil and allow seedlings to come in and these wildflowers to colonize.
By the end of this season, they'll do huge tracts of this.
It's a simple, yet important example of just how interconnected life is on our planet. After the break, I continue my search for grizzly bears.
Just when you don't think it can get any better, a female grizzly and her 2 baby cubs.
And discover some of the challenges these creatures face in the future.
Just over 10 years ago, we had over 1 million fish return to this river system. Around 5,000 have returned this year, which is very, very low.
Welcome back to Awesome Planet. I'm here in British Columbia's Glendale Cove with Brian Collin of the Night Inlet Lodge.
Just when you don't think it could get any better, a female grizzly and her 2 baby cubs right in front of us.
Watching these creatures in their natural habitat is truly an incredible experience.
What can I say? Magic.
But according to Brian, the fact that we're seeing so many bears this close to the coast is actually a bit concerning.
So this is early fall. What is this in the annual cycle of a bear's life? Where are we right now?
Well, at this time of year, the bears need to pack on weight to prepare them for hibernation.
To gain this weight, the bears should be further inland by now, feeding on salmon as they migrate upriver to breeding areas. However, this year, the salmon population has crashed to an alarmingly low number, forcing the bears to spend more time and energy foraging for smaller, less nutritious meals along the coast.
They need to be in healthy condition when they hibernate. So without the salmon, it's going to have a huge impact.
Exactly why the salmon population has declined is not entirely known. A few years ago, the government funding that had supported the study of salmon migrations was cut, leaving scientists without answers.
So now we have no idea.
Well, that's the key. I think that the investment in science and research is so important to understand the health of these ecosystems. Because if you don't do that, when the system changes, if you don't understand what's gone wrong, you can't fix it effectively.
To help ensure research does continue, some private organizations have begun working directly with scientists. Dr. Melanie Clapham is one of these researchers. A behavioral ecologist with the University of Victoria, Melanie's partnered with the Night Inlet Lodge. She's offered to take me to a remote observation platform where we can get a better look at the role salmon play in the ecosystem.
Grizzly bear right in front of us. Clearly hungry, searching for salmon.
Tell me what's going on. What would we normally expect to see here on this viewing stand at this time of year?
Usually salmon will be making their way upstream, so the bears will be looking for kind of shallow spots where they're able to catch them. But this year, because it's a low year, we find that bears will be moving around a lot more, trying to find, are there any areas where there are fish?
Do we have a sense of how many salmon have so far been recruited back to these rivers?
We don't have an exact number, but we think around 5,000-ish have returned this year, which is very, very low. In the past, just over 10 years ago, we had over 1 million fish return to this river system.
1 million fish?
Yeah.
And this year is around 5,000.
Yeah, so you see the difference for the bears there. One year they've got abundance of salmon, the next year there's just hardly any. In an abundant year, if there's enough salmon, they won't actually eat the meat of the salmon, but what they'll do is they'll eat like the brains, the skin, the eyes, so the fattiest parts, to get as much fat as possible from the fish.
And then they leave the carcasses behind, and then that provides an important food source for other animals.
Exactly. Lots and lots of different species rely on the fact that bears are kind of providers. So in low salmon years, unfortunately, those other species suffer as well, because the bears, if they are catching salmon, they're probably going to be eating the whole thing. And they've also found by bears dragging carcasses into forests and by eating salmon and then defecating, that it spreads all those nutrients into the forest. So it's not only feeding other species of animals, but also the forest as well.
I mean, it's an awe-inspiring experience to have the privilege to stand here and witness an animal like that doing what it does in the world. And that's the way you want to experience these animals, with respect and calm and quiet, and with kinds of specialists and experts that are doing work every day to ensure that these animals continue to exist for years to come.
When we return, we head into the forest to learn how the bears communicate with one another
They're actually marking their scent onto these trees.
and discover how technology is helping researchers track individual animals.
We're developing face recognition technology for bears.
Face recognition technology
Yeah.
for bears. Amazing.
Welcome back to Awesome Planet. I'm Philippe Cousteau. Keeping track of the approximately 80 bears that are found here in Glendale Cove can be quite the task, which is why researchers are using technology to tell them apart.
Dr. Melanie Clapham is in her 8th year studying the local grizzly bear population.
You kind of see how it's flattened down. You can tell that they've been moving through here.
She's going to show me how the bears use specific environmental markers known as rub trees to communicate with one another.
Hey-oh. Hey-oh.
So you notice that every few minutes, Val is yelling out. And that's in order to let the bears know, if there are any, that we're coming. Because the last thing you want to do is sneak up on a bear. So what's the significance of these rub trees?
That's kind of what we set out to find, was why are they coming to these trees? Why are they rubbing on them? What we found was that it appears that they're actually marking their scent onto these trees. And then other bears come along and can find out lots of different information through the scent from that original bear. So things like the sex of the bear, maybe how old the bear is, and maybe how closely related one bear is to another. They're really selective on the trees which they mark their scent on. And what they actually do is they choose the rare species of tree. This is an amabilis fir tree. And if we look around, most of these other trees are hemlock trees. There's a couple of spruce in there. So we believe that they select this because it's different and it stands out. These trees will be used generation after generation after generation. So you can see here all these claw marks that bears have left many, many years ago. And then the tree is kind of grown over, so they leave these scarred patterns here. You can tell that it's still frequently used because there's no moss growing here.
For an animal that spends most of its life solitary, this is an important way for them to communicate, even if they never really see each other.
It is, yeah, exactly. It's a very, very complex behavior, and actually bear behavior does change in relation to what's going on with the food. So we're studying at the moment how that affects this communication exchange as well.
To observe the bear's behavior, Melanie and her fellow researchers have placed 25 remote cameras at different rub trees. We're going to check one of these cameras to see what the recent activity looks like.
We can come and check this camera now and see if we've captured any bears on it. Let's see.
It's like unwrapping a present.
The cameras are heat and motion sensitive. When triggered, they record to a memory card,
Take out the memory card.
which Melanie can access in the field using a tablet.
And we do have some bears. Look at this. Lots and lots of bears. Let's pick one. Here we got a female with 2 cubs. And the cubs smelling the tree. And mum's smelling the tree too. See how mum's smelling on the trail there? So that she could be smelling which bear was there before her. She didn't decide to rub. She's just going to smell who's been here before. And she's carrying on her way. So here we've got another video. And the reason we've got this camera set up so low like this is so that when bears walk towards the camera like this one, we're capturing shots of their face. And that's for a project that we just started this year. What we're doing is we're developing face recognition technology for bears.
Face recognition technology
Yeah.
for bears. Amazing.
It's a way that we're going to be able to really accurately understand different individuals that use areas and recognize different individuals and track individuals over time. Instead of ourselves doing it, we're going to rely on a computer to do it and do it a lot more accurately than what we're able to do. And it's really, really exciting because we think it's going to totally change the way in which we study bears.
Wonders of modern technology.
Stay with us on Xploration Awesome Planet. Welcome back to Awesome Planet. My expedition into the Canadian wilderness has been unlike anything I could have imagined.
She is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful creature.
My only wish is that more people could have the chance to see these animals the way I did.
She has been patient and totally unconcerned that we're here. Kind of dispels the myth of these mindless, ferocious monsters that a lot of people think bears are.
It's nice to be able to be around them in a completely different context. It's not something that a lot of people get to do. He's just woken up from having a little nap, so now he's going to come and see if he can catch any fish. We believe that we get to see the real bears when we're here.
This past year, the government of British Columbia announced it would end the grizzly bear trophy hunt. For the people of the Night Inlet Lodge, this was a welcomed victory, but also just one step on a road filled with many more challenges.
If we're going to conserve bears, I think it's really, really fundamental to be studying the salmon as well because they're so reliant on it. We have to be able to understand systems before we can appropriately conserve them.
The future of these bears and the future of our entire planet will be determined in large part by the decisions we make. Which is why ensuring we're educated about the world around us is a responsibility we all share.